Diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. Check, we Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairing, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death, I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. One eye open like Betty Wops that find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow, who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness is really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flairing, sun up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeant is with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the leash. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking, cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Hump Day! You already know what it is. It's your boy Scotty back again on the Wednesday show. You already know what it is. Shout out to my man, Big Fam JB, joining the Offscript membership group. Come on, man. You already know what it is. I appreciate your support, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Miss Glenn in here. Edward in here. Kevin in here. Shout out to Kevin. Hooked my girl up with a Southern hoodie. She absolutely loves it. Hey, my boy, Quincy Casey! He in here, you know what I'm saying? I got about 15 minutes for my next meeting. Just say, hey, KJ. All right, appreciate all you guys for tuning in as always. Hey, listen, we got to do, I'm glad KJ going to dip out of here because I got a little Jackson State. Got a little Jackson State salt. Sprinkle it. I'm about to sprinkle it. Got a little Jackson State salt, mother. Yeah. Salt Bay. It wouldn't be a show. Hey, shout out to you, Reese, man. I'm glad you finally got it, man. We already RSVP for you, so you good, but shout out to you. I'm glad you got the invitation. All right. He's talking about our wedding invitation. All right. So listen, we got a lot to talk about, right? There is going to be a part 2 to this later tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm going to break it down even deeper, not on what we're talking about today, but going a little further. You know what I'm saying? So just want to give you guys a heads up. There is a part 2 of this show of what's the value of HBCU sports. All right. So tonight, 8 o'clock, part 2 of this. I felt like it was so much information. I got to pick my kids up at 3 o'clock. I ain't got enough time to give it to y'all in the midday show. So come back tonight, 8 like Friday. Okay. Come back. Okay. Like come back tonight. And we're going to chop it up a little bit more. Now, before I get into that, got some announcements to make real quick. All right, first thing first, y'all may know him, you know, the money man, Mr. Bugs is having a webinar. All right, if you would like to sign up for that, it is cashflow.biz, okay? It's cashflow.biz, all right? He is doing a how to create wealth in real estate, all right? Saturday, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The money man, you already know, Mr. Bugs is in the building, real estate millionaire, private equity investor. Yeah, all the fancy terms, all right? He's doing that this Saturday, right? 1 o'clock Central, free. It is free to sign up. You sign up at cashflowclub.biz, all right? Check it out. You know what I'm saying? Good stuff. You already know he dropping gems. Got his man in there, Cliff Hunter, real estate investor as well, licensed appraiser and general contractor. So you're going to get a lot of knowledge if real estate is what you're trying to get into. It's no two better people to tune into than these two brothers doing it at June 17th. So check that out as well. All right. Hey, you already know Girls Need Girls this Sunday, 7 o'clock. All right. Listen, man, y'all be missing out on some damn good shows. Like, I'm telling you, these girls be going in. My girl, Key, Robin, they be having some damn good topics. I'm telling you, it's just not for girls. Okay, I know the show is called Girls Need Girls, but the fellas be calling in. Smash, Mr. Porter, my boy Mike, me, my boy Derek, we all be calling in and be letting Key and Robin have it because they be, like, you know, they fair. You know, they fair. But they do what they do. But I'm telling you, Girls Need Girls, a great show, great topics, great segments. Y'all tune into that Sunday. A couple more things. Hey, listen, the wedding registry is up. It's almost that time. Okay, it's almost that time. July 8th is our wedding. All right, man. It felt like June is going by so fast. So if you'd like to donate anything to us, if you'd like to give anything, if you'd like to buy anything off our registry, please, Mr. and MrsScript.com is the wedding registry. Give you all the details of what is going on with the wedding. All right, July 8th is our wedding. So please, listen. If you are invited to the wedding, don't be cheap. All right, some of you Bama, some of my subscribers are coming to the wedding. Don't be cheap. I don't need no toaster ovens. I don't need no utensils. I don't need no plates. All right. Don't be cheap. And if you don't have a gift, I will kick you out. I'm not playing. You think this is the face of no play? Don't come with a gift if you want to. Think I'm gonna feed you? And no, you're getting kicked out. Okay, you're getting kicked out ASAP. I'm not playing those games. You're getting your ass kicked out. Okay, so it is what it is. They knew what it was. They knew what it was, KJ. They knew what it was. All right, so, hey, Adrian, and you be going in here hard. Wasn't it good? That Girls Need Girls, wasn't it good? You was all up in the chat, so stop playing. It was good. All right, so If you are invited to the wedding, make sure you bring a gift. I'm not playing them games with you. And KJ, I know you got a little funds over there. Go send your boy a little wedding gift. KJ, go send your boy a little wedding gift. KJ. All right. Listen. All right. I got a quick story time before we get into today's show. Right. And this is why. Listen. Why kids are a trip. Number 332. So listen. You guys have seen my children. I have my youngest here. She sleep at nap time. Sila, my middle daughter, Eris, and then my oldest is Shy. He's 8, right? So the one thing about Shy is like, he has a little bit of only child in him, but he's really nice, right? He's a really nice kid. But the one thing I cannot stand when I am driving with my son is you gotta like speed by homeless people. You gotta speed. Listen, I hate stopping and it be a homeless person right there because he sits in the front seat with me. He pop up like this. Oh, Dad, they're homeless. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is every time. Every time he does this, I'm telling you, pops up out of his seat. He look over. Do you have any money to give them? I'd be like, no, son, I don't. Why didn't you bring any cash so we can give it to the homeless man? I said, why don't you bring your birthday money? Why don't you have your birthday money with you to give to the homeless man? Dad, it's my birthday money. Why would I give him my birthday money? Like, that's what I got to go through. Listen. Every time we see a homeless person, I be like, every time I see a red light and I look out my window, I'm like, damn, because I know he gonna say something. Every time he get up, he's reading really well, right? So he's like, he's like, homeless veteran. Dad, he's a homeless veteran. Dad, he's a veteran like you. Like, I'm like, yo, no, he's not. I'm like, no, he's not. He's not like me, okay? He's not like, yo, I'm telling you, he is so sickening. I'm telling you, it's so sickening. I mean, he makes you feel so bad. Like, I live in the McDonough area, so it's like a Target down the street from us, right? So every time we get to this stop sign, it's a lady with all her kids on the sidewalk, and it's right by his window every time. Every time. So he pops up, Dad. This is him. I'm telling you, he'd be like, Dad, she's homeless. Look at her kids. I'm like, yo, look at him. That could be you if you keep asking me. Boy, sickening, man. I'm telling you that. Listen, if you have kids, man, don't do it. I'm just telling you, if you can wear a condom, wear it as long as you can. Okay, I know it be feeling, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like a fresh dip. Ain't nothing like diving in that thing. Just, ain't nothing like skinny dipping in that thing. But understand what comes with skinny dipping. Skinny dipping kids, okay? Skinny dipping kids. I'm just telling you, okay? So I'm just saying. All right, let's get into today's show. They do, right? So let's get to today's show. Now, before I get into this, I would I'm telling you, Mr. Hill, that boy get me every time. I'll be hot too. I'm telling you. Let's get into you know what? This had been circulating real quick. All right. This ain't be circulating real quick. Okay, like real quick. And it got to me. I think like 5 people sent this to me, right? 5 people sent this to me real quick. So I'm like, okay, let me see. Because I wasn't even going to really talk about it. But once I started looking into it, I said, oh, this is pretty interesting. So shout out to my man, Sam Herder. You already know what it is. He does great work in the FCS space. All right. So it says the highest 2022-23 revenue by FCS school. Now, I did the hard work for you. Right? You know what I'm saying? I read it. So these are the top 5 HBCUs within that list. And as you can see on the bottom, It's only 76 schools on this list. There's over 100 FCS programs, but 76 made this list. Southern was the number one HBCU on this list at 18 million, right? NCAT was number 44, number 2, 16.3. I was shocked to see Delaware State and Norfolk State so far up on this list. They were number 4 and they were number 3 and 4 respectively. And Tennessee State came in at number 5 at number 49 with 15.8 million. Shout out to Mr. Bugs. You already know what it is. He's the one doing the real estate webinar. Make sure you do what you do. All right. So dope. Absolutely dope. All right. Once again, 76 schools on this list. They came in, Southern came in about a little bit over half. All right. So, that's about half. They came in about half. So it wouldn't be me if I ain't hit you with the notables. I gotta hit you with the notables, right? Right? I gotta hit you with the notables. You know what I'm saying?
She throwing shots, that's how I know I got a trigger.
I gotta hit you with the notables. You know what I'm saying? So Jackson State, number 65 out of 76. 76 being Valley. I want to be very clear, okay? 76 was Valley. 65 was Jackson State. I think All-Core was like 75 or 74. Okay, got to give you the notables, right? Now, I know my audience might have some questions, okay? So I came prepared for answers. Was this with Dion? Yes. Yes, it was. Okay. Just want to be. Remember, it said 2022, 2023. So yes, it was. I know that question might have been circulating in your brain, but yes, it was. Question number 2. How much did exposure pay them? My question to you is, how much did Dooley score on them the first time? It's not a rhetorical question, okay? It's not a rhetorical question. Just say it.
She throwing shots, that's how I know I got a trigger.
I'm just making the observations, okay? You know what I'm saying? You say tomato, I say tomato. Okay, we're just making observations. That's all we doing out here. All right. Question number 3. I know that some of you guys have been pondering. All right. How much did Hype pay them? See question number 2. Oh, man. Woo. Yes. See question number 2. Okay, just want to make that very clear. All right. Number 3. Any way they can replicate the last years. Can pigs fly? Oh my God. I love my life. Oh my gosh. I know these are some questions that you all have, and I'm just here to answer them accordingly. Okay. And last but not least, is Scotty to blame? Yes, because he warned them, but they don't listen. So you can blame me. I'll take the shots. Okay? I'll take the shots. That's all it is. Okay? That's all it is. That's all I'm saying. Man. So you can blame me. Okay? Now everybody wants to know, the original question is the highest revenue by FCS school. That is what we were discussing at the present moment. All right. How high was that revenue? Okay. And then I went through the proceeding of the questions and things like that. So just wanted to give you guys some questions and answers of what you all might have been thinking about. Okay. So that's just me. It's just from me to you. Now, we probably go into that a little deeper on another show. Probably talk about it next week with my boy Mike Reed and how these jokers are broke as a joke. Listen, if you close to Valley on any list, I don't know. I'm just saying, 76 schools, you number 65. You closer to Valley than you are to Southern. That's all I'm saying. So when you close to Valley on the list, I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm doing. All right. Let's get into today's show. What is the value? Okay. What's the value of HBCU sports? Now, this is a two-part question. This is a two-part conversation, right? What we're talking about today is how to build value, right? That is the two-part question. That is the question that we're going to dive into. How do we build value, right? Because you only pay for something for what you deem the value is, right? So if we're keeping it in the lines of real estate, right? You have the ARV, which is the after repair value, right? And then you have the value of what you bought it for, right? So wholesale value. Then you have the ARV, after resale value, you know what I'm saying? Or after renovation value or something like that, right? So you have that aspect. So where is the value currently for HBCU sports? And then what can be changed or be added or taken away to inflate that value? So, right. So how do we build value? Now, these are my examples or my opinions, but I think these are some realistic examples to see how you build value, because a lot of people would say, to me, Scotty, nobody cares about this and nobody cares about that and nobody does this and nobody does that. And it's so much, I don't want to say negativity, because there are HBCU alums that love their school, but they don't necessarily love the value. Let me make that very clear. They love their school, right? They love their school, but they don't necessarily love the value. So they could say, oh, I went to FAM, or I went to Alabama State, or I went to Alabama A&M. But then when I then proceed to say, why don't HBCUs do this and why don't HBCUs do that? They'll say, oh, we can't, or we can't do that, and we can't do this. And I'm like, you don't value yourself. That's just me personally, right? Like, how would you feel if somebody said if you got a degree from Alabama State and somebody said, based off your degree at Alabama State, you can't apply to this job, right? That's what it feels like when I hear people tell me stuff about what HBCUs cannot do. My ears perk up and it makes me pretty upset, because I'm like, why? Why do you feel that way? Why does your mindset go there? Oh, because we've always been this way, or because it's always looked this way, or because this is just the way it is, right? But nobody would accept that if you were graduated from an HBCU and they say, well, don't apply there because, your degree won't get you in. Nobody would accept that. Not one HBCU graduate on this channel right now, 191 of y'all or 100 of you guys are HBCU graduates or whatever, none of you all would accept that. But when it comes to sports, you just lay down. When it comes to your HBCU sports in the arenas or the eyeballs, or where your standard is, or where you feel you're at in the standard of sports, you're just okay with being okay. You're just okay with being mediocre, and I disagree with that. That's just me personally, right? So, question, how do we build value? And before I go into that, let me say this. I want to say thank you to you all. Everybody who sent me a message, and if you know, right? If you know, all right? So I just want to say thank you. I'm going to tell everybody out here who sent me the messages, all right? Listen, they ride the wave. I am the wave, okay? So it's taking my slogans and saying my stuff, Willie going Willie, and, Josh going Josh, and Dooley it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff comes from me. And you already know what it is. So I appreciate everybody who said, everybody who shouted me out on Twitter, messaging me on the app and everything like that. So I appreciate you guys. So thank you all. All right. Y'all always be rocking with me. So I'm going to keep rocking with y'all. All right. And listen, if you want to get in contact with me, you can always text me at that top number. All right. Listen. So my suggestions, right, is football and HBCU sports in general has to be second. Has to be second, right? And you're like, second to what, Scotty? It has to be second, right? Because HBCU sports, football, basketball has zero crossover ability, right? Listen to what I'm saying to you. There's a reason why HBCU alums and fans watch Power 5 football, right? But Power 5 football fans don't watch HBCU sports. I'm going to say that again. A lot of HBCU alums, you would find more HBCU alums watch Power 5 than you will ever find Power 5 watching HBCU sports, right? So HBCU sports at its core, listen to what I'm saying. I need you guys to understand what I'm saying. At the core, right? At the core, what I'm talking about is not football for football. It has no crossover ability, right? It has zero crossover, right? You might have your onesies and twosies, right? But zero crossover in the grand scheme of things, right? Just pure sports. If you're talking about football, basketball, baseball, you get what I'm saying? Pure sports. Now, how do you get that crossover factor, right? This is how you do it. Entertainment. Entertainment. HBCU entertainment. The bands are crossover. The storylines crossover. The crowd engagement crossover. And Mr. Bugs called in a couple shows ago, and he brought up the fact of how hip hop is one of the I know Mr. Bugs called in and talked about hip hop, and I think my boy Dave, I believe it's Dave or not Dave, it's somebody, my guy that always calls in. My boy Dre. Dre called in and said hip hop has taken over the number one spot in rock. Right? So hip hop is now the number one selling entertainment aspect in music, right? So there is crossover ability in Black culture. All right? We're talking about just the Black culture. There is crossover everywhere, right? Music, clothing, language, dancing. There's crossover in all those areas outside of HBCU sports. So essentially this, all the fans and phenoms of TikTok dances and everything like that comes from HBCUs or comes from the Black culture gets taken and brought over to the PWI and to the to the caucus of the mountains, right? But the sport, the football, the basketball at its core does not, right? But the cheerleading trash talking does. But the softball singing does, right? Those are the entertainment aspects of the game. The kids, the Jackson State kids sideline, the Dion stuff, like all that stuff is a crossover factor outside of the game, right? And those are the things that need to be pushed to the forefront, all right? right? To make everything go. Now, Betty says, Scotty, HBCUs don't need to sell our brand. The culture is sold. Forget crossover. Please stop your opinions on this. It's baseless. Stop, please. Right? She's missing it. Right? She's missing it. You still have to monetize the culture. See, this is the part where Betty is going to be, she loses me, right? Because you can say the culture is solid, right? The culture is solid, but it's still being monetized. You're just not capitalizing off of it. The mindset of a Betty is what keeps you in the same situation year and year and year and year, because you're saying we have value, but there's no monetization behind it. We have value, but you're not making money off. Everybody else is making money off of you, but you. That's the problem. If you keep the same mindset to say, oh, the culture is great. Oh, the culture is fine. We're good. How are you good? How are you good? It's the mindset that just, it boggles my mind that people are okay with being okay, or okay from barely making it, right? They'll brag about, oh, we've been around for 100 and 150 years. But I'm like, yo, you've been barely making it. And then the opportunities that do arise, right? Because think about it. From where you started to where you are now, the hurdles have gotten lower. Let's keep it a whole buck. Right? From when the school started, right? From the 1909s and 1911s or 1930, whenever your institution started to where it is now, the hurdles have gone down. They're still there, right? Because if, like Mr. Campbell always says, if I stop you from being a part of the race, and then I'm already 10 laps in, and then you start, you're always going to be playing catch up, right? So the history behind it is not, it's not forgotten by me, right? But what I'm saying is where you're at now that the hurdles have been lowered, you got to jump those at a better rate, and you got to do it better. You got to do it better. You got to move better. You got to think better. You have to think outside of the box, right? So here we go. My first example, right, of how you do this is Last Chance U, right? And people will say, oh, Scotty, that's a production, Netflix, all this. I ask you, because I've heard it from Mr. Campbell, why are our kids going to Kennesaw State in Central Michigan, and this and that, these no-name schools, Furman, Citadel? Why can't we get top-level athletes to come to us? I ask all of you, when did you know about these schools? 90% of you Bamas didn't know what East Mississippi Community College was unless you lived in Mississippi. Half of you Bamas didn't even know what Independence Community College was in Kansas or Laney College in Cali. It was all based, and what brought you into the show was the storylines. It was the storylines of the football. The football is trash. HBCU football is better than this. But you know what brought you in? Are the kids going to make it? Are they going to go to that Power 5 school? How are they going to get through their experience at JUCO? Are they going to pass their grades? Or is everything going to come together at the end of this and it work out for the kids good? That wasn't about the football. It was about the storylines. It was about the entertainment aspect of the show. Nobody is checking for East Mississippi Community College. Nobody's on YouTube like, oh man, I hope I catch that East Mississippi College. Nobody is saying that. Nobody is saying that, oh, I can't wait for the Independence Community College. Nobody is saying that. right? And HBCUs have bigger brands than every one of these institutions, but they're not more well known. Why? Because of the storylines that came with it and Netflix pushing the platform, right? So my first example is the storylines. I keep trying to explain to you all why you need Willie Simmons to send tweets like that, why you need Eddie Robinson to keep up the antics with Jackson State. You need that game to be amped up. Dion did all the work and made everybody else lazy. I keep trying to explain that to you, right? I keep trying to explain that to you. Listen, man. At the end of the day, I'm so sick and tired of this word exposure. I really am. I'm so tired of this word exposure. With social media, there is no such thing as lack of exposure. That's what I keep trying to explain to you guys. How is FAMU going viral every other freaking month if they have an exposure problem? They're an HBCU just like the rest of you bums. So how is FAMU consistently going viral every other month? And you're not. Exposure is a sorry ass excuse. You can say whatever you want. Oh, we ain't been. Oh, FAMU makes their exposure. That's why they live on social media. That's why they post their clips. How does a girl go from being on the sideline of the cheerleading, right, to then being interviewed by a CBS station? Because she went viral. How does Music Soul Child repost a FAMU social media content? Because they went viral. That's how this thing works. Social media makes your local pond or lake now have everybody there. You could do something in your backyard and millions of people can view it. Exposure is a sorry ass excuse. Because anyway, let me keep going. Let me just keep going because y'all gonna set me off. All right, next up, example number 2. Friday Night Tights. I absolutely love this show. I love this show, and I love the Liberty City one with Luke. I love that one too. Youth football is huge. Youth football videos are huge because of the what? The storylines. You feel a part of the kid's journey. The kid from the Outlaws. I know everybody remembers that kid, the running back from the Outlaws, right? You feel a part of the journey. That's why you watch it, right? This says this docuseries offers an inside look at children as young as 8 years old who play in the Texas Youth Football Association, one of the largest independent youth football leagues in America. Bama's was watching 8-year-olds. 8-year-old. I mean, I'm locked in with these 8. I'm like, man, man, I am locked into this show. I loved it. Right? And it's in the Mizell Miller. Thank you so much, T Smooth. You already know what we're talking about, baby. You know what I'm saying? And you get connected with the players. You see their accomplishments. You see their heartaches, their accomplishments, their sad, the losses, all that type of stuff, right? It's those type of things that you need to do to make your stuff what it is. And I'm not saying that it needs to be on Esquire or Style or Netflix, right? But what I am saying is you can do it yourself. You can have a part series of following players, right? Players do it on TikTok all the time. A day in the life of a D1 athlete, right? A day in the life. If you did a day in the life of Jeremy Musa, if you did a day in the life of Andrew Body, if you did a day in the life of Coinus Miller, or a day in the life of JD Martin, right? Or a day in the life of Eddie Robb, a day in the life of Willie, like those are social media content. Like that's how you build this thing. You have to build it some way, somehow, right? People love what Jackson State did when Bucky was doing the video and the raw footage and everything like that. The Bama did it on his iPhone. He did it on his iPhone. Chopped it up and uploaded it. That's all he did. That's literally all he did was film it on his iPhone, chop it up, and upload it. Yes, it was Dion on it, but how many all the schools can do that? The pregame show, that's all that Bama did, was videotape it on an iPhone and chop it up and upload it. Right? So it's a two-part thing. One, the coaches have to get off their freaking ass and put on for the swag. Right? How cool would it be, right? How cool would it be if Fred McNair would talk about his brother and their upbringing, how he probably taught him how to play quarterback, how he taught him how to, when he got to Alcorn and the excitement and the craziness that came with his brother. Like those are stories that need to be cemented in time, right? You go to these historians that have seen the game at every level and you let them tell their experience. You go to the A&M Mathis and you talk about his time at Alabama A&M and how he got drafted and his time with the Colts, right? You go to a Leslie Frazier and you sit down and you have him talk about his experiences in the SWAC. They were all just at the Black College Football Hall of Fame. They were all just there. Right? It's those type of experiences that need to be told and need to be cemented. These aren't no-name people. You keep telling me that the SWAC has produced all these Hall of Famers. Where are they? Why are they not synonymous with your school? Odell Beckham goes back to LSU. Justin Jefferson always putting on for LSU. Jamar Chase always putting on for LSU. Derrick Henry always putting on for Alabama. Florida, Joe Hayden, Tim Tebow, all these Bamas put on for their school. Where is Superman? Why wasn't Superman talking about Shedeur Sanders? Right? In that experience of watching Shedeur play for the last 2 years. Where was that conversation at? Those are the stuff that needs to be happening. You have to have synonymous. You got to be synonymous with this game. Right? Anyway, I'm giving out too much ideas. Key gonna kill me. Key gonna absolutely kill me right now. She gonna be like, shut your ass up. Right? This is what I'm talking about. So when people talk about lack of exposure, no, it's a lack of, you're freaking lazy. You guys are lazy. You know how I know? Because I've been in this HBCU community long enough to know it's literally 5 phone calls away from getting in touch with any of these guys. It's literally 5 phone calls away from getting in touch with any of these HBCU alums. Literally. It's always like that. Hey, my partner knows this partner that knows this partner. I can get in touch with him. This girl knows this guy that knows this guy that knows this girl to get in touch with him. Right? It's that. It's that. So, Here we go. Friday Night Tykes grows Kinder as Esquire Network stakes ratings on the over-the-top youth sports. Right? It says, I asked this not just because of the Friday Night Tykes, which averaged a reported 400,000 viewers per showing in it for 8-year-olds. 400,000 people were watching this for 8-year-olds. 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 Miss me with that. Miss me with that. All right, last but not least. If you don't know what this team is, you've been living under a freaking rock. The Savannah Bananas. This is a perfect example of what somebody with a vision and willing to think outside the box what they can do. The Savannah Bananas. Okay? If you do not know what this team is, you've been living under a rock. Now, you know me, I got to give you some backstory. So I want you guys to understand when I see this. Right? It says, this is an article in 2018 or 2019, right? It says, bringing baseball to Savannah. And I want you to read this. It says, we started calling everyone in the community. We're here. We're going to do baseball right. We're going to make it fun. We're going to have tons of entertainment. And what happened? Crickets. I mean, nothing. No one believed in us. Jesse says the team sold just one season ticket in his first 2 months. They were hardly bringing in any money. So after the phone call from their COO saying they're overdrafted their account, Jesse and Emily sold their dream house and moved to Savannah. Right? Listen, the reason I want to show this is because I wanted to, if you know this team and you know what it's about, you know how popular this team is. You know how popular this team is. And if you don't know, go to TikTok, go to YouTube and show you. It will tell you, right? That is how they started. Overdraft account, right? Nobody going to baseball games in Savannah. It even goes on to say that when they put out the notion to come up with the name, right? Because they said, hey, we're going to change the name. They had over 1,000 entries. And when they selected on Savannah Bananas, the guy says, my brain started working. I was like, oh, we could call the mascot the Split, and we can do this, and we can have old ladies called the Banana Nanas, right? The Banana Nanas. And then you could have we could do this and we could do that. It's things like that that make you understand. Like they had to listen. When you have nothing to lose, you need to try everything. When you have nothing to lose, try everything. That is literally the mantra that they have for this team. Now, you're talking about, first of all, they were an amateur baseball club. Now they are a full-time exhibition club. So pretty much like the Harlem Globetrotters of amateur baseball. That's what they are. They're the Harlem Globetrotters of amateur baseball. It says this, following the 2020 Summer League season, the Bananas announced that they were folding their collegiate amateur team and only playing banana ball. An ESPN Plus miniseries about the team called Banana Land was released in August 2022. As of 2023, listen to this. The team has over 6 million followers on TikTok, more than any major league baseball team. But social media don't matter. But social media doesn't matter. Listen, people in here talking about, oh, I've never heard of them. But they making money. They're making money. I believe they made $20 million last year. Every game is sold out. Trying to get a ticket to this event is like a wait list. It's so crazy. Right? This is an amateur exhibit. It is literally the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. So if you imagine the Harlem Globetrotters in their hypest of like of the peak Harlem Globetrotters, this is what Savannah Banana is. An exhibition baseball game. But, and this is what kills me. See, this is why I have to do shows like this to get you out of your stuck in tradition mindset. Betty will come up here and say, well, our culture is solid. Our culture is solid. We're good. We're good over here. We're 100. No, you're not. Because you have a team. Listen, I need you to listen. Your schools have been around for over 100 years. This team started 6 years ago. This team started 6 years ago. And they've made the leaps and jumps that they have. All I'm saying is there is no excuse why, and they're an exhibition club, they're amateur, they're pretty much like a AAA team. You can even say AA team, if I'm being honest, the way the size of the stadium is, AA, AAA style. 6 years ago. Wasn't selling one season ticket. But now they're making $20 million. Innovation. Innovation. Not being stuck on stupid. Not being stuck on what has traditionally worked. Not stuck on that. Right? And if we're being honest, baseball is nowhere near as popular as football. Let's just call that what it is. America's pastime is football. So the fact that a AAA club is doing what they're doing, or an exhibition team for a AAA team in Savannah, of all places, is doing what they're doing, is not to be scoffed at. They are a niche that has gone viral so many times that it's made them semi-national. Can we say that? Semi-national. They've gone viral so many times that their name is buzzing based off people just saying, yo, what's this? Let's go check this out. I want to check this out. So you have that. But once again, it's having owners and people at the top willing to think outside the box and willing to do the unthinkable. Right now, let me be very clear. What I am not saying, this is what I am not saying. And the call lines are open, 518-263-8124, 518-263-8124, right? If you have any opinions or calls, you want to talk about this. What I am not saying, and I want to be very clear because I always have to make this delineation. I'm not saying making the game gimmicky. That's what I'm not saying. Okay. I'm not saying, let's throw the football behind our backs and, let's not punt on fourth down. I'm not saying any of that. Right. And I'm damn sure not saying, no, I'm not saying coon for anything. Right. So chuck and jive. And I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying, and how do we build value, is this: building up the entertainment aspect of HBCU, right? Because everybody has something to say, like D-Lob 2010. Oh, so many major differences. So many major differences, right? There's always differences in everything. There's differences in everything. Difference of opinion, difference of style, difference of choice of music. There's differences in everything. So shut up. All right. Needing to make storylines. You need these coaches to get off their ass and make the SWAC entertaining. You need to listen, man, you need to tell these coaches and tell these staffs to get off their ass and make this stuff entertaining. Right? Listen, I'm sorry, man. Y'all can get mad at me. The SWAC is in no position to be like, oh, we're not doing bulletin board. Every week should be bulletin board material for somebody. The engagement alone is what you're looking for. I'm not saying that you need Willie Simmons to be like, oh, TC Taylor trash, right? But what he did on Twitter was absolutely perfect. It was subtle, it was direct, and it made for engagement. Now that OBC game is must-watch TV. Simply off the tweet. Because I'm being a buck with you. I didn't really care about the game this year. After Deion had left, I was like, it kind of lost its luster. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I've been there twice. I ain't trying to go back for a third time just to see FAMU lose or whoever. I was like, it's not that. But after that tweet, oh yeah, I'm being Miami. I'm gonna be in Miami, front row center, checking it out. Cause I gotta see how it ends. I gotta see how this story ends, right? Also, number 3, thinking outside the box, right? How can we get more crowd engagement? What are some things that we can do? Can we do a race on the field? Can we do a race on the field? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you got the bands, so the bands are always going to be what the bands are, right? The bands are always going to be what the bands are. But maybe, you know what I'm saying, during TV timeouts, you know, something's on the field or something's going on in the stands or like doing something, just thinking outside the box. And I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm always hit by the fairy, you know, the fairy idea, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea fairy or whatever. But what I'm saying is that there needs to be more of an effort, a concerted effort to say, hey, how can we expand on our engagement or social media presence, or how can we make this experience better, right? You already have the bands, which was like y'all Bama's like, well, oh, everybody just comes for the bands anyway. Okay, cool. How can we make the bands more exciting? Right? How can we make this? How can we do it? Can we do a live voting? Can we make it a live voting while you're watching the band, right? Of who won the halftime. Can we do stuff like that? Right? Can we come up with these different things? How can we get the crowd involved? How can we get the people at home to want to tune in to the game, even if they're not there? Right? Because no matter how you might feel about the production, there are some great commentators that make the game fun. There's people that commentate better than Jay Walker and Tiffany. Right? I love Tiffany, by the way. Tiffany, I love you. Right? But you do have people like J. Rob from Jackson State, where they're literally like a Jackson State, you know, a Jackson State broadcast. You know what I'm saying? Just like, it's funny because they literally telling jokes. Wow. Like it's mic'd up. I love it. Pre-game conferences. I love it. Like these are the things that schools and the SIDs and the media department need to be sending to you all. There needs to be a blast on alumni pages of, hey, what are some things that we can do to make the game experience better? Right? Is it doing raffles? Is it, raffling off t-shirts or exclusive t-shirts? Is it bringing back the prime seats at other schools? You know what I'm saying? Like, Like, come on, man. Like, there's so much. People come to the game fly, right? The flyest dresser. All that type of stuff, man. It's so much. There is so much that can be added to the experience to make the game better. Let me tell you this. Popularity is subjective. Let me tell you this. Popularity is subjective. And what I mean by that is some of you Bamas don't even know what best fan contest. I seen a lady at South Carolina. Man, she was South Carolina State from head to toe. Had the earrings, the jacket. She was fly. I ain't gonna lie to you. She was fly. You know what I'm saying? But it's things like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, popularity is subjective. What I mean by that is there is niches. There are niches in this thing to where we as black people have probably never heard some popular white people, right? And there's places where there's popular black people that have never been heard of. It's stuff like that. It's things like that. So what I'm saying is like, oh, we don't have this and we don't have that. There's ways around everything. Okay? There's ways around everything. You just have to think about it. And I want you to understand is you can cross over. Why? It's because when you blend in entertainment, that's where you get the crossover factor. That's where you get the white people, right? Because let's keep it. I don't mind making this thing Wakanda, right? Because I'll be the first one to tell you you can turn this thing into Wakanda off the rip. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But what I'm saying is that the reason that Power 5 football is so big is because it does combine two fan bases, which is black, white, Hispanic. Multiple fan bases that want to tune into the game. So the more crossover ability you have or you can produce, the more eyes you can bring to the channel. Yes, is there people like me who just love football? So we don't know nothing about HBCU, but hey, Dion brought us here and we love football. Absolutely. But you have to add a crossover factor because I keep telling people the one thing about HBCUs is you make this thing super niche. You try to make it like an elitist club. And I'm like, damn, how is it an elitist club and all you Bamas are eating ham sandwiches? How are you you are trying to make a TreeHouse club elite? How? If you don't have a TreeHouse pass, you can't come in here. But I want to join you in your TreeHouse. Like it is a TreeHouse. Like it's a TreeHouse. But it's my TreeHouse. Like you didn't buy a storefront. You're not the 40/40 club. Okay? You're a TreeHouse. And now you're getting upset that people want to join you in your TreeHouse. Now, are we going to talk about your TreeHouse? Yeah. We'll talk about you if you was at the 40/40 club. It wouldn't make a difference. People are always going to find something to talk about. The quicker you get that through your thick ass heads, the quicker you understand life. Somebody's always going to have an opinion about something. But hey, you wanted to pay to get in the TreeHouse? Hey, say what you want. That's your right. Your right. Hey, your right is to correct them. Their right is to say what they want. But that just blows my mind, right? You want I want everybody. Oh, come look at my TreeHouse. Nobody ever appreciates me and how well I've built my TreeHouse. Then people come and look at your TreeHouse and say, I've seen a better TreeHouse. I don't know why you use oak. Should have used pine, right? Maybe I wouldn't have painted it that color. Why are you talking about me? Why do you have you're such a hater. Why don't you like my TreeHouse the way it is? That's what you guys sound like. It's so asinine. It's so backwards, right? I'm gonna throw out a flyer. Well, y'all don't even put out flyers because y'all really don't be promoting nothing, right? But you're going to go out there and say, you're going to go on the block and say, hey, I just finished my TreeHouse. Come look at it. Anybody who wants to look at it, preferably black, but anybody. then when people come, right, and they, oh yeah, that's nice. That's the same way I built my treehouse. I love this treehouse. That's all the HBCU people. Oh, I love this treehouse. I built my treehouse just the same way. I know, right? Isn't it nice? Yeah, I mean, I looked at your treehouse and I just said, oh, what a lovely treehouse. I just said, I'm just going to copy your treehouse. I'm going to make my treehouse the same way, right? And then somebody who's built a treehouse better than your treehouse comes up and says, hey, you know, you could have had like stairs that wrapped around, or you could have used a levee system to pull yourself up, and it would have been really dope. Like you could have added that. Why don't you just appreciate my treehouse the way it is? Like, bro, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. That's what you get with dealing with HBCU elitists. That's the frustrating part. I talked to a guy who's actually in the SEC space, right? Has a very booming channel in the SEC space. And he said, Scotty, the funny thing is, he said, I wanted to do a YouTube channel about HBCUs before I did it about the SEC. He said, but my sister she graduated from Miles. And she said, I've already dealt with some of her, because he graduated from an SEC school. So he said, I've already dealt with some of her friends and I see the way they think. He's like, he said the N-word. He said, I'm still a ninja. I still like chicken. I still like kicking it. I still like hanging with my people. He said, I would love to talk about HBCU football. But because I didn't go to an HBCU, they're not going to respect my opinion. What type of shit is that? What type of shit is that? But that's the stuff people have to go through, right? Is that because they're not this? And he has a very successful channel talking about a white school, a black brother talking about white people. And he's like, I know I'm going to get that from them. I understand I'm going to get that from the white people. I ain't got no worries about that. Right? But at the end of the day, there's still a mindset of people that feel like my opinion won't matter because of how I feel. And just because people listen to me does not mean they don't find that that's true. There's still people. I can come on here every single day of the week and break down film beyond. I can probably break down film better than half the other YouTubers in my space. Right? But there's going to be people that just say, oh, he didn't go to the HBCU, so I don't rock with Scotty. Or, oh, Scotty's a hater. He doesn't like HBCUs. That's life. I'm not blind of that. Right? And especially if you're starting. When I started out, that was the first question that everybody asked me. That was the first question everybody asked me. What HBCU did you go to? What does that even matter? Are we talking about football or are we not? Oh, but you don't have any SWAC hours. Now I need SWAC hours to talk about. Now let's be very clear, because I need to understand this, right? Now, if you're talking about rivalries and the teams and matchups, I get that, right? You got to understand the rivalries and who plays who and all that type of stuff. But that's with any conference, right? But to be able to speak football, I need SWAC hours. Oh, y'all need to miss me with that. Thank you, Mr. William. Thank you, Mr. William. Oh, he's not an HBCU graduate. Who cares? Like that's the mindset that you have to deal with when it comes to HBCUs. Now, once again, it's not because I'm black. See, the thing is, you would think that just because I'm a black, and a lot of people rock like that. Like I know Mr. D, Mr. Campbell, they're like, hey man, I'm rooting for everybody black. That's the one thing Mr. Campbell tells me all the time. Hey man, I don't care. I'm rooting for all y'all brothers. Y'all brothers black. I love what y'all doing. Blase blah. Cool, right? Now, I could get if you don't like me because of the position that I take or my takes. I'm cool with that. That's life. But essentially telling me you're not gonna listen to me, or you don't think my information is valuable because I didn't go to an HBCU. That is idiotic. That is idiotic. And I'll say that to anybody because I'm like, oh, but you taking white people money. You take white people money with the quickness. If a white millionaire, right? If a white millionaire was like, oh, I'm giving your school $10 million, you would throw that white man a parade. Hey, he ain't got, but if we, oh man, I'm telling you, like, that just tells me you can be bought. That's all that says. That's all that says. One, we all know how much SWAC and HBCU love white proximity. You can say whatever. I don't give a damn how many people want to say something about me. I've been in this space long enough to know that HBCU sports love white proximity. I've been in this space long enough to understand that the administrators, your SWAC commissioner, your female MEAC commissioner, they love white proximity. Even though, right, I get it. You be like, oh, Scotty, but most of the things are owned by, I get that. But it's the fact of, oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we're there. It's not, to me, it's like, because if we really talking, right? That's a whole nother discussion. We'll talk about that in part 2. We'll talk about that later tonight with white proximity and how that affects, you know what I'm saying, sports and HBCU contracts and all that type of stuff. But most black people want white approval. And it's sad. It's sad. I had somebody tell me this, and it really opened my eyes. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, call lines are open, 518-263-8124, 518-263-8124. I had somebody tell me this. And it really shook me to my core. And it really made me rethink how it really made me rethink how I view myself and my people, right? So somebody told me this. They said, Scotty, can you believe that black people celebrated Jackie Robinson getting a job? And when he said that to me, I said, what are you talking about? Right? He was like, because think about it. Jackie Robinson's, now I don't know all the history. I'm just telling you what somebody told me, but I'm just telling you how it made me think, right? He says, Jackie Robinson was in the Negro League. The Negro League had black owners with black equity, right? And most HBCU players at the time were moving through the Negro League. So Jackie Robinson, this is what he says to me. Jackie Robinson goes to Major League to get a job. And other blacks celebrate that because of his integration into Major League Baseball, but essentially becomes an employee. And then ends up and anybody, like I said, anybody can kill me on that. And essentially ends the Negro League. Essentially. Because once one came, they saw how successful he was. Then what do? They start siphoning it off the others. And next thing you know, you don't have your own thing anymore. It's somebody brought that up in the aspect of integration as well, as that blacks have black-owned businesses in their own community. But then when you're fighting for integration, right? And once again, I'm just telling you what somebody told me that made me reevaluate how I process, right? So you're talking integration where you're talking about Black Wall Streets, right? And to where we know what happened to Black Wall Street. It gets bombed and tore down in Tulsa and stuff like that. So but I'm saying, like, you had that aspect of small black towns that own their own stuff, black movie theaters, black grocery stores. But then when you add the integration and then you go and you want to be closer to white people, you want to be in the white neighborhoods, then you leave what you had behind, right? So I get it all. This is where, for me, that it made me shake what I was doing, right? So I heard that, and that's history. That it is what it is. We are where we are. But what, for me, that it hit me with was that it made me say the point of, why does everything, anybody that is tied to HBCU, right? They essentially say you pigeonhole yourself. I need people to understand that, because you'll have people say, who come on here, it's all Division I football, right? It's all Division I football. But it's like, as soon as you lock yourself in with HBCU, they're like, why are you pigeonholing yourself? What? Like, I've had so many people come up to me and say, Scotty, you should really think about going to the SEC. You should really think about picking an SEC team and following them. Or you should really think about picking a Big 12 team and following them. And I say to them all the time, why? Why? Oh, because you're just so talented that, you could do that. But why? Why can't I cover my own people? What about covering my own people makes that pigeonhole? Like, what makes that pigeonhole myself? Right? Why nobody says that to the commentators of the SEC? Nobody says that about Paul Feinbaum, who has covered the SEC for the last, 20, 25 years, right? Nobody ever says that to him, where he doesn't really go outside of his space, right? He didn't go outside his space for a long. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Campbell, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, he talked about Alabama, the Alabama schools in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, from what you told me. Or just he essentially talked about Alabama schools, right? So I just didn't like the mindset, right? And when he said that to me about the Jackie Robinson thing, I'm not saying what Jackie Robinson wasn't life-changing and changing. I'm not saying any of that. But what I did think was, why am I going to jump ship on my own people, right? I feel as though, if I'm talented enough that I can bring the eyes, the viewers, the stories to the people, and they resonate with it. That's just my mindset when it comes to this. If I'm that talented, why do I have to go to a white space to show my talent? That is the only thing that bothers me. It really does. I'm like, when you really just sit back and think that, oh, Scotty, you're talented, but you need to be covering a white school to really show your talent. That mentality is just messed up, in my personal opinion. In my personal opinion. So when I stand here and I tell you all, it's not anything I'm not living, right? Are there things that I could do better to push my platform? Absolutely. Absolutely. If I had the free workforce of an HBCU, I would be killing the game. Give me 3 interns. I would murder everybody in the game. But it's hard, right, when you're a one-man band and a full-time father to do the show, do the graphics, do the research, do all that. But when you have a free workforce on your campus walking around with one of these in their hand, everybody is a media mogul. Everybody is a media mogul. And the one thing that my mindset is in this space, right? I don't know why a lot of other people do what they do, right? I don't know why a lot of people do. I don't know, and I don't care. But what I'm here to do is show anybody and everybody that there is money in HBCU, there is value in HBCU sports, and there's damn sure entertainment in HBCU sports. That's what I'm here to do. Because I tell anybody who talks to me, I'm like, listen, if you can get 60,000 people to a stadium to watch trash football, damn, that's good. That's just how I feel about it. That's just how I feel about it. You can't tell me anything different. I'm sorry. I don't care how you want to flip it about apples to apples, oranges to oranges, white football, black football. If them Bamas can fill stadiums up to 60 to 70,000 people, somebody is doing something right. That's just how I feel about it. But I'm going to get off my soapbox. All right? I'm going to get off my soapbox. But that's just how I feel. But once again, all right? Part 2 tonight. All right, we going a little deeper. Part 2 tonight, we're going to break down the BET contract and what it could look like, okay? Of how it might be structured if the SWAC decided to pitch to Tyler Perry, who is, it's kind of confirmed that he's going to buy BET, right? And breaking down pitching to other major networks. All right, so that's what we're going to dive into later tonight, right? The BET deal with Tyler Perry, right? What it could look like for the SWAC if they decide to go that route. Breaking down pitching to other major networks, because why? We've just built value, right? We're building value now. How do we monetize that value? How do we go monetize that value? So those are all the things that I'm going to be talking about later tonight at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central. Hey, Hezekiah, I'm going to hit you up after this show. I saw your message on Twitter. I'm going to get back with you, all right? We're going to try to get you to the wedding, all right? We're going to try to get you to the wedding, all right? So, free info, hopefully McKellen playing. Hey, listen, I hope. So what we're going to try to do is I'm going to try to be the commissioner, all right? I'm going to try to be the commissioner, and I'm going to try to pitch this thing, or how I would make up the contract if I was pitching it to BET, right? And what that would look like in all those terms, and the monetization aspects of it and things like that. So it should be good. It should be good. So, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it is what it is. You're absolutely right, Jersey. You're absolutely right. Ratings matter. Let me you know what? I always got something for you, Jersey, because you know what I'm saying? It's people like you that keep me on my toes, so I gotta stay ready. Like my dad said, if you stay ready, you never gotta get ready. All right. What's that say? It says the ratings was up 700,000 viewers who tuned in last season. All right. It was the second most watched game of the day behind Florida State LSU, which drew 7.5 million viewers. So once again, all right, now, once again, you can talk about Dion and you can talk about all that type of stuff, but it's there. It's there. I'll ask you, Jersey, what Rutgers game? What Rutgers game? What the Rutgers game looking like? Now, mind you, you got over 30,000 people. What the Rutgers game looking like? Right? And the only reason Pittsburgh, let's be honest. I got time for you. Because you're going to say, I went to Pitt. The only reason your coach, Norzini or Naziano or whatever his damn name is, the only reason he's even in the news is because Dion clowned his ass. Once again, storylines. The Pitt coach called out Dion, right? Dion called him right back. So that's the only reason that's the only reason Pitt even in the news. Oh, and another reason they in the news. Oh, I know USC was tampering with our quarterback. With our wide receiver. Oh, I know. So you just as irrelevant, my boy. You are just as irrelevant. So move it along, Jersey. Move it along. They like the Vanderbilt of the Big Ten. Now he's like the Vanderbilt of the Big Ten. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what are we talking about? Let's not play this. Let's not play this game. All right. So listen, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember, tonight, come back, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central Time. Part 2 of this series, breaking down the value of HBCUs. Listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.